Alrighty, what is going on, ladies and gents? Welcome back to the channel for another market update. Hope everybody's having a lovely day. And with that being said, let's get into the TA. All right, so first things first, I am going to point out, all right, we were saying something was up here. I was pointing out, this is chop, all right? Something's going on here. We're not seeing clear direction. We should wait until we have clear direction. I think we do have clear direction. Now, we did break down. We broke under 452. What did I say that would bring? That would bring the start of a downtrend. And wouldn't confirm a downtrend. You know why? Because we got to go up for a lower high. So that is what I'm going to be looking at. Like that. And I'm not saying it's going to start right here, but if it doesn't start in the 448.50 to 450 demand zone, then we're going to have a solid buying opportunity down at 444 with a great risk to reward ratio. And that is something that I personally will be taking. Now, I do want to point out, I think this is just going to be a counter trend move. Why? Because QQQ is now confirmed a downtrend. We now have a confirmed downtrend on QQQ. You are now safe to short these pops. All right, like maybe you were saying, oh, it's safe to short over here. Well, it wasn't. You know why? Because we didn't have the lower low followed by that lower high, and now you do. So now you do have this confirmed downtrend over on QQ. We are going to have to wait to get one over here on SPY. I do think we are likely to bounce. Why? We do have this 15-minute bullish divergence over here on SPY, so that is something I want to point out. And then I do want to come over here to ES, and I want to point out you do have your 4-hour RSI in oversold territory. It is deeply oversold right now. And I'm not saying we could just sit here and rely on indicators, because in reality, we could look at indicators all we want. But what is actually moving the price? What is making that indicator move? It's going to be the buying and selling going on the market. It's buyers and sellers psychology. And guess what, guys? We just had a very bearish surprise catalyst that I know for a fact was not being priced into this market. And what was that? We were downgraded. All right, so the Standard & Poor's did end up downgrading the U.S.'s credit rating. It's like your credit score getting downgraded, except for the whole country here. From a AAA rating, AAA, to AA+. That has not happened since 2011. And yeah, I can't imagine we are going to just see a bunch of buyers roll in here. Now, do we get this pop? I think we do end up getting a pop. If we don't see a pop here, where are we likely going to be getting that? I think we come a little further down here, within 1% here, and we bounce off this breakout level right here on SPY, which would also align with this trend line. And that's why I say that would be a glorious buying opportunity over here in SPY, or if you're a futures trader over there in ES. And yeah, if you don't do that, just look at it this way. You would now be coming back to the breakout. You'd finally begin that back test that we have been waiting on. And boom, bop, bing, boop, pout. That is something that I have been looking forward to. And I think that is going to be a solid buying opportunity, because if you come out to the weekly time frame, yes, we can afford to have a correction, but in the grand scheme of things, we are still just making these higher highs and higher lows. That is something that on a weekly chart, the last higher low is all the way back here at 403. So you can really have a pretty steep correction here without really breaking the trend on the weekly time frame. We are in this aggressive uptrend here. And I'm not saying this dip is just going to be eaten up and we're going to go back to the highs. I don't personally think that's going to be the case. Why? Because would you be buying into something like, that's a bearish catalyst that hasn't came around since 2011? That is 10 years. I can't imagine institutional money, big whales are going to be excited to load the boat. I don't think so. I think we could get a pop here because of what I pointed out. The 4-hour RSI over here on ES is already oversold. And if we don't do it here, I think it's going to be within 1%, and then you get at least a 1 to 2% bounce. But do I think it's going to be something that where we just come back up here to the highs? No, I don't think that's going to happen. We have had a absolute massive run without a decent correction here. Over here on this is ES, all right, 5%, and let's just look at NQ. And NQ, by the way, it's in the same boat, except this is also a reason I think we are probably going to bounce right out of here. We are literally at the breakout level. But over here on NQ, without a decent correction, yeah, I mean, we could really call it over here. That is 8% right there. We did end up seeing this, and that is what started this whole downtrend confirmed. Why is that confirmed? You have your low, you have your high, all right? So this was your higher low compared to over here. You had your higher high, but you came back lower low. Well, higher low. Came back lower high, and now what do we have? We have a lower low. So that is something to keep at the back of your mind. So if you are buying this dip, just know you are taking a counter trend trade, which means the price actually could be relatively weak just like we have seen all of these dips get eaten up and we push back to highs. Well, now if you get a bounce here, expect it to come back and push down to lows until things are changed. That's just how you got to safely go about things. But yeah, just like ES, you have the 4-hour RSI in oversold territory, and that is something that has not happened in months and months and months and months and months. We got to come all the way back here to right here, and you did have your deeper correction there, which is why I think we still probably keep going down, and dated calls are going to be the move as we continue this pullback. Again, I do think we're going to get a bounce, and then, maybe we have a few legs down like this. Like right now, if we're going to, just strictly follow the RSI, which again, guys, is just an indicator. This is just something we could, have on our radar here. All right. So we're not flying blind right here. All right. Well, if we're in that leg right now, what do you have? You had this little bounce followed by another leg down, a little bounce followed by another leg down. So you had two more legs down. And let's just look at percent wise. What were we talking over here? All right. So you had this decline right there. All right, how much was your bounce? All right, your bounce was about 1.4%. That's what I was saying, 1 to 2%. That's what I'm kind of looking for on SPY and QQ, followed by a 3% drop. Then we came back up, had about a 2% rally, and then you had a 3% drop. So I do think we're probably in a similar scenario here. And if you really want to, you already, cancel it out over there. But if you want to make a higher low on the weekly time frame, you are going to have to hold all the way over here. Let's just put that on a chart and let's see how far away is that bad boy. That is about 2% lower. So we can start a rather large correction on here on the NASDAQ. You've had a rather massive run. All right, the last correction was a 8.3% correction, and you had this little guy over here. You can use this as your higher low, or you can use over here. I would really say here is where your structure is on the weekly chart. And guess what? That is quite a ways away. So back from over here, you have gone straight up for about, 23% there. You can afford to have that, 5 to 10% correction without canceling this uptrend. I'm just letting you know. This is what I'm thinking about. All right. And I do think individual tickers are still going. Unless now you want to go with the trend, you can now short things. All right. I think you are going to get this bigger sell. You can just look at this. All right. Look at that bad boy right there. We've had that carving out. We've been pointing out on these weekly updates, guys. We've stayed pointing out this weekly bearish divergence on QQQ. All right. Well, now it's finally going to be playing out. And on the pop, I think it's, now it is the safe move to be going short on the pops. You're not buying the dips, you're going short on the pops. That is something that has changed. Structure has not changed this whole entire time, and now it is. So there's that. Also, we come over here to Apple and look at that. Oh, what's going on? We are coming into our previous higher low over here. So if you do break down under 191.23, which was the low of this candlestick right here, then boom, bop, bing, boop, pow. You do also have a confirmed downtrend on Apple, and I do expect this is probably going to be a larger scale correction here, since Apple has not really pulled back this whole entire time. All right, and then we probably will be targeting this zone I got right here. You could say right here, which, what is that? 183. All right, so if you break 191.23, next stop is going, we're just going to take this out. All right. Now that we know what's going on here, we can actually take off all of this clutter on the chart. It doesn't matter to us anymore. It does not matter. All right. Your next stop underneath there is really going to be all the way down here, 187. And then underneath there, you're talking about what we were just, discussing over here, which is around 183. What is 183? That was your breakout level. So, again, I mean, guys, all of this makes sense. Structurally speaking, that would be picture perfect. We come down to 183 and then bounce off of there. And then we come over to the weekly chart over here on Mr. Apple too. You get this bearish engulfing candlestick. We're going to see how this closes out the week because we do have Apple earnings on Friday. Yeah, Friday. Why isn't... All right, there we go. Thursday after the bell. So going into Friday, we have that, I guess. And then you come over here to Amazon, which I thought it was just on Friday, but then you also have Amazon after the bell on Thursday as well. So, these are going to be moving the markets. And now that we're on Amazon, let me just point this out to you guys. Hey, all right, this is where, again, I really wouldn't take it. It's going to be a counter trend trade, but you could find buyers right here or a triple bottom right there for a counter trend move. But just like Apple we just discussed, and just like QQQ just started its downtrend, what do we have? You have your high, you have your low, lower high, you break that, lower low. Sounds safe to short these pops. All right, there you go. Boom, bop, bing, boop, pow. Let's look at msft. This is actually something I want to point out. All right. Oh, what do we have? Coin is over here on, yeah, it's at the breakout level, guys. So we have coin earnings tomorrow as well after the bell. We have a lot of big earnings tomorrow after the bell. If you do, if they decide, this is heavily retail traded. So if they don't decide to just take everyone's money and take both sides' money and trade it flat, which I don't think is going to happen, but that's a complete gamble right there. That is my guess. Regardless, from this level, guys, you have about a 25% move in both directions. You got that up to 110 right there. They'll bring you back up to the highs. And under here, you have, so we'll call it 23% in both directions. This, I believe, is going to be a large buying opportunity if we see that. All right, but coming back over here to Mr. VIX. Sorry about my alert. Got triggered. All right, Mr. VIX. Let's actually draw a trend line right there. What do we got? We have a breakout from this triangle slash, if you really want to, go like that. All right, you had this little channel going on there. Probably could find, nah, you can't find a wedge in this thing. I don't think so. Regardless, you had this descending triangle right here, broke out to the upside. As of today, you came down and back tested, it looks like, in the morning. Yep, perfect. Boom, bop, bing, boop, pow. And yeah, after this level right here at 17, your next stop is going to be 20. But guess what, guys? If you do see this RSI come all the way up here, what are we going to be looking out for? We're going to be looking out for something like this, for it to cool off before going back up. Do I think this is just the end of the sell? No, we've been waiting on the pullback. I think it's going to be a larger scale pullback. But if we do see the daily RSI on Mr. VIX get up to 70, what are we going to be looking for? We're going to be looking for it to cool its ass off. That's just, how things have been this whole entire time. You're not safe shorting into these things. Maybe you get like a day or two above it, but you don't really, unless you're getting a crash, you don't really see this thing sustain itself. And this was back in 2020. Do you think something like 2020 is going down? It was a complete anomaly. Do you think it's going down? I'm not going to even answer that, all right? I'm not going to, well, I am going to answer that. I don't think it's going down, all right? I think we're just going to see our correction. So that is that. That is something I point out. And then you come over here to AMD. AMD has a very, very, very bearish looking candle. So that is something that is going on right there. You have increasing volume behind this thing, and it has faded the whole entire move from 120 all the way down to 107. So that is pretty freaking crazy. And if you do end up breaking that, what do you also have? You have a continuation. Well, no, never mind. You already do. All right, let's just look at this. All right, so up until this point right here at the top, you were in an uptrend. You broke down. You have your lower low. You have your lower high. All right, what do you got right here? All right, you have a higher low. What do you got right here? You have a higher high. But boom, what happened here? You created the lower low. And then what happened right here? As of today, you created a lower high. What is that followed by? A lower low. So now AMD is also in a confirmed downtrend. I do think things are turning. This is why I say, like, we're probably going to be having a deeper scale direction here. Larger scale correction here. I don't think it's just going to be bought up. If you were big money, would you be buying into something that hasn't happened in 10 years that's also pretty bearish? No. I don't know the exact date, so we won't go over what has happened last time this whole thing happened in 2011, but we can look that up in tomorrow's video, or we'll definitely be covering that in the weekly update. Over here on the video, I'm going to turn on the 20 MA. This is something that has not happened since, before the earnings gap up. Look, you were dancing around 20 MA before. Guess what? You have lost that, as well as you've lost your uptrend that started at the beginning of June. Over here on the video, you lost your trend line. So yes, you are coming into support here. We're actually just going to, no, we'll leave that up, I guess, because that's where you broke out from. It looks like you're just slicing through here. If you break under here, right, you're watching for 420 to be hit. But you know what? Take that off. That structure that has been filled, we will put a new one on for you guys. There you go. All right, it's just about 420. It doesn't matter. just about 420. These are the levels I'd be watching on NVIDIA. Again, everything's looking pretty bearish, guys. I wouldn't be just like blindly buying into the dip. I would be shorting the pops. My personal opinion. The only thing that I could find today that I don't think I gave you guys this one, so I got out of this one today. Holy cow, the spread's freaking wide on this thing. I did not like it, but J&J is the only one showing strength today. And then we also have S-Bucks at earnings yesterday. So that was also one we caught this morning. That was showing strength off of that earnings, even though it declined. But yeah, guys, I mean, these are the only two tickers that I could find today that are showing strength. I guess we got like a few of these actually, but yeah, these aren't things that I was watching this morning. But I mean, other than that, guys, everything's looking horrendous. All right, everything is. I saw a large Mara order come in earlier though for calls, 17 calls for this Friday. So that is something to note. Hut over here, guys. You came up, you back tested your zone. All right, next stop is down there. That's like everything's not looking good. That's what I'm getting at. Everything is really not looking the best. F was something that was catching a bounce over here. All right. You know, even this guy, I don't think everything's looking good. All right, Affirm, we pointed that out. All right, you're back underneath your trend line. All right, guys, things are not looking the best. I just really wouldn't be blindly buying into things. You might as well just sit on your hands, wait until the dust settles, and reassess. Even things like Baba. I'm going to point this out to you guys as well, because this is one we pointed out here on the channel. This was a little trade idea. But guess what? You need to get over to 105 to have no resistance all the way up to 121. Now, you do have earnings next week. That is probably going to act as a catalyst. And I'm excited about this one because I think Baba looks like an absolute beast. Yes, that's an ugly candlestick, but I think we're probably going to do something like that. And let's point out the last time you had a candlestick that looked just like this. You gapped down over here. From that low, you then fell another 5% over a 2-week period right there. All right, so you know, if you do end up doing that, you get another shot right here at this, the back test of this broken trend line right there. And boom, bop, bing, boom, pow. It's probably going to take place into earnings. Do I know if earnings are going to be good or not? No, that's something you got to factor in. But, you know, I think this is why we should just let the dust settle, all right? Last time we had, you know, candlesticks like this, you continued lower, like even on this one, all right? And that formed with a hammer. So we're going to have to see how that one forms. We're going to see how everything shapes up towards the end of the day. PayPal up here rejected right off this trend line. Came down, next stop is 71.85. If you do end up breaking that, all right, you're looking at 69. That is where, yeah, I have that alert. Let me actually just put another one so I don't forget. Right there, buying opportunity right there. I think we're going to have opportunity, but I don't think it's going to be any time like, you know, immediate. I don't think it's going to be immediate buying opportunities across the board. Because, you know, everything just makes sense that, you know, it's not all looking the best. Things are rejecting from where they are. Things are confirming downtrends, and you got VIX over here. Wait until VIX's RSI gets up here to 30, not 30, 70. That is when we likely see a counter trend move. Just my thoughts. All right. With that being said, I will catch y'all in the next one. Look at that big, fat, ugly candlestick. Look at that big, fat, ugly candlestick. Next stop is that trend line and the back test of the breakout point. All right. Peace.